Warning, the voices heard in this video are made synthetically, using artificial intelligence. Nothing in this video reflects anything actually stated by the real-life individuals involved. This video is for entertainment purposes only, and serious political content will be avoided for that purpose. Enjoy!
We spraying gas, we spraying morphs, we spraying lines, and we spraying Zines. Welcome back, viewers.
Big bars.
Welcome back to Joe's Personal Hell. We already showed you the workbench last episode, so now we can go right into zombie killing after we loot a few boxes.
Considering the CEC sent us here to get diddled by zombies with knife arms and zombies that are inflated, the least they could do is give us some money for their trouble. Also, hey look, it's our favorite necromorph, the one guy.
Bro was on the galleys waiting for Isaac since last episode a month ago just to get one tapped by the line gun.
Oh no, it's vegetables. Shield your eyes, Donald. I know this is a cosmic horror even you are not prepared to face.
Eat a dick, Sleepy, just oil up and ready your body. I know your noob ass doesn't know the dangers of the vegetable room, but soon you will wake up in a cold sweat, remembering what the marker did to you in this room.
Very colorful description, Donald, but yeah, lock in here, Joe. The zombies are already pouring out, and this is a massive room with a lot of vents. It's time to see if your game mechanics can shine here.
Well, right now, it's just one dude, so I should be fine. My true love, the line gun, will protect me. Oh, shit! You brought friends and a baby, too?
Looks like the necromorphs want you to babysit for them, Joe. Although why they would let their kids within 200 meters of you is a prime example of how the marker messes with their brain cells.
Hey, dude, need some head?
That was a funny joke, Joe. Glad you regained yourself, but this fight is far from over, although in the original there is a unique battle theme that plays mixed in with the animal ambience in the room. Although whether it's a glitch or a feature, we are actively not getting any music right now.
I could put on my playlist if it becomes too much of a problem for the viewers. Also, Barry, I am no longer as panicked as I once was. An elf waifu really helps give a new perspective on life and emboldens you from spiders and space zombies.
I don't really need the music. It offers plenty of tension to silently judge Joe and his poor gameplay instead. Also, that's a second bloody necromorph in this fight. Looks like the AI director really likes you today.
Oh look, the music is back. It just took another bloody baby to spawn for the theme to come in. It sounds kind of different, but it still sounds like a pleasant visit to the zoo with zombies, if I'm being honest.
For good work dodging the baby, Joe. Keep up footwork like that.
Don't give him too much credit, Obama. This fight is far from over. I can practically taste the mess-ups in the air.
Why is bro running like a white girl in a Target when a new Stanley drops? Calm down, buddy. There is plenty of Isaac to go around.
Joe, did you not see what's poking behind you?
Wait. New daddy, please.
Damn the red eyes on the necromorph mixed with the pure terror of Sleepy Joe. That is a hard-ass album cover right there. Almost makes up for Joe somehow surviving this encounter without getting executed.
Only I can move and stop time, assholes. All right, I bought over 20 rounds of plasma cutter ammo, and it's already almost empty. This new Game Plus bullshit has already worn off its novelty. Can I please lower the difficulty or something?
I'm sure the viewers wouldn't mind, but I certainly will. The increased difficulty just gives us more time to yap. March on Soldier.
Well, you barely survived that fight, but looks like the game is still going to reward you with a new gun and loot. Also, is Elizabeth Cross the only person who works at hydroponics or something? Why is every audio log here voiced by her?
Well, we know of at least 2 members of hydroponics that appear in the Dead Space games, but Cross is on most of the audio logs because in the original game we obviously don't ever meet her or talk to her as Isaac. So the only way we hear the story of the Weezers and per crew is through audio logs like this one. Also, I like the dead bodies they plaster around the force gun room. It's showing a mere 1% of the force gun's power.
Well, 5 hours later, we finally have unlocked every gun in the game, viewers. I'm going to slot out the flamethrower for this bad boy. I'm still deciding on what my full 3 guns are going to be going forward. I know Barry is absolutely bricked up for this gun. He has been waiting for this since we first started playing.
Oh, absolutely, this baby is the power of a Jedi packed into a portable gun. This is going to be easy clear of enemies if you use it right. The handheld graviton accelerator, commonly known as a force gun, is basically the shotgun version of a kinesis module, blasting a massive amount of kinetic energy in an area that deals massive damage if the enemy is close enough.
Girl, you are going to feel a little prick.
But let me guess, the Jedi shotgun is still somehow a mining tool and not a weapon of mass destruction.
That's correct. Its function in mining is to provide blasting power beyond conventional explosive charges. So it's usually used for excavation or terraforming on the surface or in space. In mining, it can be used to shatter rocks into smaller rocks, sending rocks between miners in zero-gravity situations, as well as deflecting incoming rocks away from miners when they are in space. But honestly, even just describing that, it sounds like an impractical tool for mining purposes and more expensive than its usefulness, but counterpoint, just look at that skin peel.
This thing is definitely going to take some getting used to, but in honor of you, Barry, I'm going to get my next couple of kills with this thing. I already know we should have strapped this thing to your drones back in 2008 when the original Dead Space came out. The war crimes would have gone hard. Now check this out. I give her and her dead kids 3 booms, call me the Costco guy.
If only I started playing this game when the original came out and not later on in my presidency when I had to lock in.
Even if you have a bigger gun that isn't going to help your situational awareness from being scuffed as hell. That inflated morph snuck up right behind you, about to ask you about child support Sleepy.
A scuffed fight, but you recovered pretty well, Joe. For good work switching guns. When you needed 2, there's a reason the reload upgrade is the first one for Force Gun. The reload speed of that thing is terrible at base. It's like 5 seconds.
Everything's terrible when compared to my 2 Loves plasma cutter and pulse rifle, which are a crisp 2.5 seconds at base.
That's like the only thing the pulse rifle is going for it. It needs that quick reload since it takes 100 shots to kill something. Also, Elizabeth here really loves her boyfriend. This is like the 5th time she has talked about Jacob. I get that the engineers are the main characters in this ship, but calm down there. There's only so much waifu that we can take care of in dead space.
I can feel for the writers here. They had to write for a character using only original text and audio logs, and that would only be relevant for 2 chapters. With all that being considered, they integrated Cross fairly well into this game. Also, her line about unitologists holds especially true for hydroponics.
The cultists yearn for the plants. Also, hi, Nicole, you really do call it the worst possible times we are in poison gas right now. Can you ask us to take out the trash later?
Girl is really on multiple monitors just in case anyone couldn't tell that this is a marker trap. How the hell would she even know where to appear unless this was in our head?
In the 2008 version, this was even more obvious as the room we entered had a dozen screens with Nicole's face on them, with Nicole simply saying, "Make us whole." So the poison gas wasn't here either, which honestly, I don't know why they added this guy here. It doesn't really enrich the gameplay, and it takes away from the importance of seeing Nicole because we have a time on our back telling us to stop the poison.
I mean, even if Sleepy Joe is playing, you have to have fell asleep at the wheel to die to the poison gas. The rooms these guys are in are so tiny, we honestly could have looted beforehand and still had time to file our taxes before checking the Weezer's fade.
Oh shit, it's a Diddy Morph party. I was wondering where all these fresh necromorphs came from. Absolutely devious that they put 2 of them in a room with gas so I can't chop up the bodies first. Looks like this one got a quickie in and somehow survived the convergence and tried to levitate like that one meme dude.
Well, a quick cut ahead, we put our flamethrower away and sold some items, and now it's time for our new episode, Armor Change. Looks like we are going with the Sanctified Armor today.
God, the aggressive suit change animation will never get old. It literally feels like this thing is taking us apart piece by piece. That being said, this armor is kind of mid. It's just our normal armor, but with marker script on it.
Yeah, but it shares the same style as our current armor, so I figured I would wear it now. So it doesn't look like we are straight up downgrading armors. Also, I know this thing's lore goes pretty hard. It says Brethren on it, referencing the Brethren moons, as well as Whole Again, referencing that sweet, sweet convergence.
Joe, you are absolutely correct, but since when can you read marker script?
You taught it to me, I'm pretty sure right.
No, I've been trying to teach you proper Elvish for a decade. There's no way I found time to do that.
I guess Donald taught me then since he plays this series so much.
Joe, the only thing I would teach you in marker script are slurs, and that's if I cared enough to teach you shit, which I don't. I have no idea how information passes between the corn kernels that occupy your mind, and I don't intend to try.
Oh, well, we are once again going to have to circle back to that, but we were talking about the Sanctified Suit, so let's circle back to that. The Sanctified Suit continues a trend of Unitology-inspired armors that appear in every game since the original. In the original Dead Space, we get the Advanced Unitology Suit. In 2, we get the Zealot Suit. And in 3, we get the Witness Suit, each of them getting more intense in terms of design and Unitology script. The Sanctified Suit is more tame since it's a reference to the original Unitology suit. The suit also has ranks on the armor referencing the 5 ranks in the Church. That being Initiate, Unvested, Vested, Overseer, and Enigma. Although these ranks are never shown in-game outside of the codexes.
Really, what about that Danik guy from Dead Space 3? Don't we get his rank since he is like the leader of the whole cult or something?
Nope, we don't get his rank either, and he actually isn't the leader of the Church, despite both of you calling him that. He is the leader of a military subsect of the Church called the Circle, that learned about Tau Volantis. I imagine, though, he is probably an overseer or enigma same as the other main antagonist we see in this game, like Mercer, the captain in kind.
Also, it's my favorite type of necromorph, the one guy.
It's always nice when the singular necromorph waits patiently for you to loot the room before jumping you. He knows his job, but he is willing to be patient. I definitely respect it.
Oh shit!
What the fuck, you rude asshole. You're supposed to wait for me after I enter the room, not jump at me before I even get there. You need to be more like your brother, the patient guy. Now enjoy being stuck on the door for all eternity, asshole.
Obama, I'm pretty sure that scared the hell out of you too, unless my hearing is off. Did that door jump scare throw off the acoustic lore yaps?
No, of course not. It just threw me off my script a little since he jumped out before I could talk about the new enemy type. These guys' viewers are known as exploders, and much like boomers, they only have one purpose, which is to get as close to enemies as possible to suicide bomb them. Usually they are super easy to deal with. You can either two-shot them normally or one-shot the sack off of them and launch it back. Also, since we just got the force gun, it offers another clever game design moment. We can push all of them back with the force gun before finishing them off at a safe distance.
I may not remember most things from the original game, but I did remember this room from the design alone, so time to use the goated secondary effect to hold the line no Kiriki.
Not surprising Obama likes the exploding necromorphs. I'm surprised you kept your composure during that last fight. Also, Joe, you have a zero gravity chamber ahead, so I hope you took your anti-nausea pills today.
Zero gravity chambers also mean you get to face a bunch of baby necromorphs and leapers, since that's what the marker made those guys for in the first place, so watch out for little targets.
Yeah, I've already been classically conditioned to just wait by the entrance for these guys to come to me before I do any puzzles or shit. If I focus on non-combat objectives, I tend to zone out and ignore the assholes ramming my health bar away. Still, I prefer this type of zero-G combat to the weird mag boot jumps in the original.
Well, at least you are self-aware. Your aim takes a 200% nerf when the gravity gets disabled, which is going to be hilarious for the upcoming boss down the line.
Donald, just try holding and firing a gun. At zero gravity, it's harder than you might think. Being held to the ground does a lot more for your balance than you realize. Also, why the hell are there spikes in this area that not only seems dangerous for no reason, but what purpose could you have for placing medieval spikes on a spaceship?
I wonder if the spikes are meant to stop equipment from just floating around and causing more damage. I mean, I know why it's actually here. It's to cause damage to you or a necromorph if you force push one of them on the spikes. As for an in-lore reason, the only one I can think of is it's a preventative measure for flying zero-gravity objects.
I'm just going to go with the interior designer, just really liked medieval times and wanted to have a few spike pits to pay homage to that. Also, you have another wall-gooner asshole up ahead, Joe. Don't let him set up his turret babies.
I really wish you could shoot your gun through the little gravity force fields. I would rather not fight him in the weed cloud, but I guess it can't be helped. Time to flex more line gun supremacy.
There's a stasis canister here too, which is a gameplay hint at how you are supposed to handle these guys. The Guardians can only be damaged by the tentacles that spawn out of them. However, if you time your stasis when the tentacles just spawn, you can get them lined up in a way to one-shot all of them for that extra ammo efficiency. Well, in fact, for some reason in the remake, the Guardians sometimes die in one shot when under stasis regardless of their tentacle placement, although that is most likely a glitch.
Damn, I'm going to have to remember that for the future, since I'm running low on bullets, although honestly this chapter is so far one of the easiest we've done so far. The Weezers are all in really convenient places, and we are already halfway through the objective. Also, where the hell did my line gun trap go? I know I placed one here earlier. I'm not going crazy.
Looks like it despawned. Sounds like a skill issue. The pulse rifle would never do that to you. But these inferior engineer tools and mining tools betray you once again.
Keep glazing the mid-gun Donald. Anyways, viewers, that is how you kill these guys the cool way, although I still don't know why my 200 IQ trap got smashed out anyways. Looks like I have to backtrack.
Yeah, that's sort of why there was no reason to come here a few minutes ago. Joe, we could have just waited so we wouldn't have to backtrack for the episode.
Holy hell, you nerd. Not everything has to be optimal. Besides, why the hell would they leave this door open for us to travel to if we weren't supposed to go here yet? Also, Daniels, can you calm down? We don't need another crash out from you.
Damn, that sucks that you are seeing your dead brother call me back when you start hearing the gooning whispers at the back of your mind telling you their grocery list. And shit, that's when it gets really bad.
I don't know if that was your version of a flex or not, but at least you don't whine about it like Daniels does. I almost prefer this girl trying to instigate the party against each other than hearing about her funny marker visions. Also, it's time for your daily episode brute fight focus up here, Sleepy.
I guess this dude wants revenge on me, clapping up his two brothers in 4K. Well, this brute triplet never met the line gun, so this fight should be easier than his two brothers. I'm predicting 2 shots at most. Wait, hang on, why are his eyes glowing like that?
Looks like we have our first Phantom Brute. I was wondering when they were going to show up. This guy has the 3rd most health in the game. This should be interesting. I recommend shooting the legs first. And aim low. This guy has more precise weak points than a normal brute.
Fucking me. Why the hell is he not dead yet? I reused my stasis in almost a whole clip. Why the hell is there no recharge station here? This shit is rigged.
Well, at least you remain calm, Joe. That's the important thing.
Smell that, Obama? Looks like a wild skill issue. It's just one guy, right, Sleepy? Just lock in and use your fancy engineering tool you love so much.
This is a later game fight, Joe. They aren't going to hold your hand anymore. You are going to have to use the resources that you are given more. We'll plan ahead with a stasis recharge pack.
That's a good joke, Barry, but I don't know what a stasis recharge pack is. Do you mean the funny blue circle that gives you a free band when you sell it?
Damn, even the bloody guys are too goddamn easy to kill. That thing wasn't even able to hit you. And you broke his ankles, looping him around like he is in Cowshed and Dead by Daylight.
That's a very obscure reference, Donald. I wonder how many people can absorb that mythical pull. Well, now we can clear through the side rooms and eventually turn off the gravity to reach one of the Weezers on the 3rd floor, but for now make your way through the first 2 rooms. There's one hiding out in the corner.
Looks like we need a battery at some point, although why there is a gravity switch on random floors of the ship I won't understand. Doesn't that seem incredibly dangerous?
Not really, that seems fun as shit. I need to get the Area 51 guys to install a zero-gravity chamber in the White House. That way I can do some cool flying shit while also doing Dragon Ball training.
It sounds like somewhat if Trump was betrayed and locked in the time chamber for 100 years, but go off queen. Also, zero gravity doesn't really have many bad effects on people. It is more so just dangerous for the loose items scattered around the room when the gravity comes back. However, I wonder if people still get gravity sickness in the Dead Space universe, or if zero gravity is something people have naturally become adjusted to after 200 years of relying on space travel as a species.
Wasn't there a codex saying people use zero gravity for therapy and medical purposes? People must be pretty adjusted to it if there's random rooms that can turn gravity off, and people use it to deal with mental problems. Although I guess some people have mag boots to try to avoid the zero gravity problem, so maybe some people do get sick or panic. And that's why it needs authorization to turn on and off.
Well, Joe, you are halfway there. This room is a little more involved than the previous location, so just take your time and explore everything. Also, a small fact about the zero-G therapy, there's a room in Chapter 2 in the medical wing where we first learn zero gravity controls, and in that room there's a bunch of small pods. All those pods are actually little isolation pods, and the room is used for sensory deprivation therapy. However, when the ship started to malfunction, the pods ended up locking. So it's likely dozens of people ended up dying in those pods from starvation or dehydration, which is a really slow death.
Goddamn, this game gets dark. That reminds me of those pods on the collector ship that had people in them who ended up dying when we attacked the ship. Also, Joe, the force gun is practically tickling the jumpy assholes. You need to try a real man's weapon.
And hey, don't diss the force gun. It's definitely doing damage. Just look at the skin peel. Maybe try the secondary effect on the leapers, though, to keep them farther away next time, Joe.
No, I'm just going to switch to the plasma cutter. I am running low on ammo anyway, since all these necromorphs end up dropping as $5 at a time. At least I am slowly building up my bag again, and I finally get to recharge my stasis. I felt almost naked without it. This is the longest I've gone without having any since the prologue.
The game is just teasing us at this point, putting a workbench in a room filled with poison gas. When the hell are we going to get another chance to upgrade that won't give us lung cancer in the same breath?
We probably have to finish the level before we get that chance, but when we do, I kindly ask you put something in the line gun and force gun, maybe just try a few upgrades with both the force gun and flamethrower to see which one you like before making the final decision.
Honestly, now that I've taken it out for a spin, I think I am ready to commit to this loadout. The force gun has a good area of effect and solid short-range damage, while my other guns are for more long-range problems. Also, the force gun deals with the inflated morphs in 2 shots, which is half the reason I wanted to bring the flamethrower anyway. Also, this build perfectly represents each president, since in the first episode I remember Barry, you said the force gun. Donald said the plasma cutter, and I said line gun. Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
I actually forgot Donald's favorite gun is the plasma cutter and not the pulse rifle, but good shit Joe, that seems perfectly thematic for this playthrough. Speaking of comment questions, though, now that the gravity is turned off, you have a bit of exploring to do. So while that happens, do you have a comment question prep, Joe?
I do so, viewers. We have one of the first true bosses in this game coming up at the end of this chapter. So with that in mind, what is your favorite boss in the Dead Space series? Whether because of the gameplay or the cinematic relevance of the boss battle. For me, I have to give it to the Tormentor fight in Dead Space 2, which is the necromorph that casually takes out the gunship while trying to spin the block with you. Even if that fight is mostly cutscene based, the cinematic moments make it so goddamn memorable, followed by the fact it follows up a crazy plot twist moment too. Also, that thing is bloody and scary as hell and just craves smoke more than Battle Beast.
All right, Joe, not a bad pick. As for me, I have to give it to the Brethren Moon fight at the end of Dead Space 3. That thing felt like it was ripped right out of the original God of War, with how massive it was, as well as mechanically having to fly around, dodging debris and attacks, and ultimately ripping out your friend out of its chest to end things once and for all. The fact that Isaac ends up killing this universe's version of a god also helps build up his Kratos image. There's also just sort of an air of finality to defeating this boss, which ultimately got corrected with the Awakened DLC, but even with that final expansion, the ending of Dead Space 3 feels like a good end to the journey and Isaac's character.
All right, that's cool and all, but there is only one true final boss in Dead Space, and that's the hive mind at the end of the original. The problem with 2 and 3 is they slowly become more akin to action games that try to recreate the hype moments that the original hive mind gave us. It's a massive creature 20 times our size that is the embodiment of the marker's will. And even if its weak point is shared with every other enemy type, the sheer scale of this thing and the fact we have to dodge tentacle and bomb attacks, all while every type of necromorph we've faced up till now tries to dogpile on us. Just like the Brethren Moon fight, once we kill this thing, the entire planet starts collapsing in front of us, and we have to run to safety because of how massive of a creature we just killed. Plus, since it's the original final boss, that means it is the best. That's just how it works.
Donald Original does not mean best, but also viewers don't forget to kill enough of the Blight to grab the next officer's rig for the Master Rig side quest.
Yeah, I kind of just found that by accident. Well, Good Takes Boys viewers, let us know your favorite Dead Space boss in the comments. Down below, our editor reads everyone, and his favorite will be featured in the next episode. But with that being said, Donald, mind featuring our favorite comment from last episode.
Sure thing, Joe viewers. Our featured comment comes from Runga Ninja, who sided with my take of adding glorious Warhammer 40K weapons to their personal Dead Space loadout, including a base chain fist for the extra bloody executions. He also gave some in-lore decisions, with his choices pointing out that each of the guns he picked are meant to damage and cut through spaceships, which fits the nerdy engineering and mining theme of Dead Space's original weapons. We always love a good technical or in-lore reason in our comment questions, so thank you for understanding the assignment and can't wait to hear your favorite Dead Space boss.
Well, good work, Donald, and looks like you finished featuring the comment at the right time. Joe is about to be diddled by a giant tentacle morph.
God damn it, I knew it was coming. And it still got the jump on me. I hate these goddamn scenes. Thank God I still had the plasma cutter on me. If I had the force gun, I would be wall chow by now.
Damn, Isaac tanked that tentacle slam like a pro and didn't even end up taking damage, bro. Is trying to match the POTUS tank stats.
It helps to have a spacesuit reinforced by steel plates. Also, Joe, you will be happy to know that we only have one more tentacle drag scene in Chapter 10 to go, but we aren't done with tentacle attacks in this episode yet.
Oh boy, my body and my pimp hand is ready to go. It sucks that the tentacle doesn't drop some loot considering all the bullets we have to dump into this thing. At least we have a loot cache up ahead, so that should make up for it.
Oh, but first Daniels isn't done yapping at us and trying to cause us to turn on each other like a goddamn game of Among Us. I literally don't care where the middle manager Hammond is or what goon orders Isaac and Joe are hearing in his head. I'm just here to get money and kill zombies and cultists, which is what we should all be about, being honest.
Well, you did say you would prefer for her to go back to trying to cause tension in the group rather than crashing out over the marker effects. These two Kendra scenes are missing from the original game, as this game humanizes her more by making her also impacted by the marker. A few other changes during this chapter that we mentioned before is the fact that Elizabeth Cross was not present in this mission, besides journal entries detailing what happens to her crew and her notes on how the Leviathan formed. Elizabeth actually survives and reunites with Temple in the original before Isaac makes it to hydroponics. However, they end up both being captured by Mercer. Their fate, however, we can talk about when we reach Chapter 10. Since Elizabeth is never here, the person who gives us this quest to kill the Weezers and Leviathan is actually Hammond. He never does this random radio silent vent crawl in the original. Instead, he tried to stop the Leviathan himself and ended up injured.
Wait, hold on, Hammond actually does something and ends up injured because of it. That's a massive W compared to middle management Hammond in the remake that makes me like the original story more, at least for this chapter.
Honestly, OG Hammond has a better grind, better goals, and a better voice actor. All this new one has is management skills and trauma. Both are fairly useless during the apocalypse unless you are playing This Is War and you need someone to manage your house.
Two of those reasons are pretty subjective, but making Hammond an actual soldier who will fight with us is definitely an overall win in terms of character building. I feel like just the fact we always have someone with us doing some sort of objective helps fight the bleakness and loneliness that comes with these types of games. Also, viewers, if you noticed a cut, it's because I had to crank up my brightness in this area to navigate through the electric pillars. I literally could not float my way through that maze without it.
Well, there's a console that turns off the turbines, so you can at least make your way through the map easier before you proceed to the next area. I suggest you float back to the middle area There's a really important schematic for force gun ammo that we need if we are going to run the gun.
I would make fun of you for trying to grab the ammo through the goddamn force field wall back there, but honestly, I would have done the same thing. I have no idea why biotics stop working between the gravity field, but bullets do work past the wall. That definitely sounds like a design bug.
Yeah, I'm going to stop asking how things work in this game going forward, unless an audio log or a Barry tells me how it works. Everything in this wacky Pee-wee's Playhouse spaceship seems designed to warp my brain. Thank God you told me to double back too, Barry, because I definitely would have missed this on my own.
Yeah, it seems like only the force gun and line rack had a placement where it's easy to miss them. The rest of the early schematics were placed in main quest rooms, where you would have to practically ignore them to miss them, like the flamethrower schematic being right next to see the engine. Speaking of engines, though, it's time to play a little bit of chicken with Napalm Joe.
What kind of Saw movie scene is this? We have to run through the hot engines, dodging the blasts that definitely kill us in one hit. Wait, why do I care? This is Sleepy Joe's jigsaw puzzle, not mine. Let me get some popcorn to cook on these engines.
Yeah, this is like the later Jigsaw movie puzzles where there isn't actually a moral or a point, it's just about death. They even locked all of the doors, so we have to break the lock first before we can move forward to clench my cheeks harder.
Well, thank God this isn't Mass Effect, or we would have to do a mini game before unlocking each door. Also a little bit of fun that the map designers put into this section. The glowing sign behind you says, "Please take care around emergency door locks. The ship has fragile equipment," and even gives you a comm frequency to report any damaged locks.
Bro, imagine if we called that number and some old-ass janitor wakes up from his nap to fix them unaware of the zombie outbreak.
I feel like that's something Dave, the White House groundskeeper, would do. Bro just does his task and isn't alert otherwise.
Also, Joe, I feel like you are actually warming up to the game more. I'm proud of you, but given your mental deterioration and your overall reaction, I'm not sure if it's because you are enjoying it or because we have a Stockholm situation in front of us.
Why the hell is the marker sending these dudes to suicide bomb me in the damn rocket chambers? Come on, Daddy, get away from me. Niger Undayo, Joe Star family secret technique.
Definitely a Stockholm situation, but goddamn, that necromorph came charging at you like a linebacker, bro, was on a mission for that ass.
Thank God for stop time, though. The dude was on a mission for booty. I get they are zombies, but you would think they could be a little more courteous and let me exit the rocket blast before trying to take me with them like some kind of anime we go together moment. Also, I'm ready to be out of this room. That warning has been going off every 10 seconds for the last 2 minutes. I'm tired of it.
Shout out to the announcer lady. She is putting in the real work here. Everything else in this ship is being held together by flex tape. Meanwhile, the warning lady is still going at full blast. Also, before we take out the Weezer here, go ahead and loot the middle room. First, there's some good loot and a little bit of lore, too.
Oh, look, it's our favorite necromorph form, the one guy. Our battle will be legendary.
Jarvis clipped that. I know every line gun fan, myself included, just had a mini orgasm at how clean that one shot was. Also, goddamn, this room has 2,000 and power node. This is the best loot we have gotten all day, boys.
Money for me, nodes for you, and lore for Barack. We can just stay in this room forever and be satisfied, honestly. But unfortunately, we still have more engineered tasks to do.
Well, at the end of this elevator, we will be where the blocked-off Weezer was, where we fought the Brute. Then we just have the final boss to go.
So wait, the reason these things are going full blast like this is because some engineer removed all the regulators to try to burn the Leviathan gas away? That's actually cool environmental storytelling from the game. Well done, writers.
You're 100% correct, Joe, but I am more so impressed that you read all of that so fast, or even read it all. Normally you ask me or the audio logs to explain stuff like that.
Well, now that the burden of the presidency and reading teleprompters is over, I've been taking up more reading to keep my mind focused. It really helps fight the voices during these gaming sessions, too, know what I mean.
Now, Joe, I know that was some ominous shit meant to make us nervous, but you actually reading quick was more scary and foreboding by like a lot.
Yeah, my bad, Donald. I know it must be scary since you can't read yourself. Also, this one, Weezer, had a whole goop wall, and everything. This looks pretty cozy. My inner introvert would be at peace if I could survive toxic gas.
I think they are trying to show that they are progressively getting worse and more infected as time goes on, but sure comfortable might be another way to look at the room. No judgment here. Going back to the text log, though, does anyone find it weird how Fallout and Dead Space love to have the NPCs put their final words in a text log? Like, if you were dying, would you really have enough time to put up a text file and type out, "Oh no, I'm dying, but I'm going to try to do this"?
It's really no different than the NPCs that leave notes and hints for the main character. I know if I was a poor or a side character during the apocalypse, I would probably do the same damn thing. Also, looks like the necromorphs heard you bragging about one-shotting the last dude, so they sent a bloody one to spin the block.
They even only gave me 400, so now I'm down almost a band from this one dude. Hold on, I am used to singing being at the back of my brain, but this is not the Archdemon's call. What the hell is that?
Nope, not the Archdemon's call at all, Joe. That is Jason Greaves' rendition of Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star that was used in the original trailer. However, Motive did remake the scenes and made their own remake trailer using this exact song, which shows just how much love went into this game.
Yeah, it's a cool Easter egg, but what the hell is even happening right now? Does this music just play on the elevator, or is Isaac having another collab with Sleepy Joe, and this is all just a dementia attack?
Well, considering what happens in Dead Space 2, I think it's safe to say this is supposed to be Nicole singing, and Isaac is, in fact, going crazy from the marker in front of us.
Well, either way, girls singing is going hard rent must have been due, but I think a scene like this works best with the proper layout, wouldn't you all say? Let's expand our mind, boys.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. When the blazing sun is on, when then nothing shines upon, then you show your little light. Twinkle, twinkle all the night. Then the traveler in the dark thanks you for your little spark. He could not see which way to go if you did not twinkle so. Though I know not what you are, twinkle, twinkle, little star.
What the fuck?
Joe, how the hell did you switch the video when you don't edit these, and why did you whisper all of that in our ear while you did it? Not now, Nicole, have someone else figure it out.
Donald, I feel like you're not asking the right questions. I'm more so concerned by the fact he was staring blankly at the screen. When he was showing us the trailers, why did you swap between the old and new scenes? Joe, stay consistent.
I was trying to give credit to both creators of the old and new trailer. Screw me, I guess, for being whimsical.
Yeah, well, all that's left is the Leviathan. So let's cut ahead to the entrance to hydroponics for your last fight of the episode.
Well, before I go fight the big guy, let me slot in all the nodes we earned in this chapter. I will give 2 upgrades to the force gun, and the rest into the line gun perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
By the way, Joe definitely got lost trying to do the loop back, which was hilarious. So despite him trying to freak us out with his singing, he is still the same old Sleepy Joe.
Eat a dick double D, it's really dark. In hydroponics, it's really easy to get turned around in there.
But Joe, you literally turned the brightness up 5 minutes ago. What is going on?
Damn no reason to pull out the receipts, Barry. We are all friends here. I'm not the one who elected to play a game that takes place in the cold, dark vacuum of space. Just watch me warm up with one more guy before I take out the boss.
I guess the marker has to recuperate its zombies, and that's why it's getting kind of desperate and flinging them at us one at a time. This thing is saving all its dudes for the next chapter, trust.
Just watch me. I've done a little bit of flying and shooting practice before this episode because I know this big thing can smack you around if you're not careful.
Pause.
I mean, 10 kilotons, that's like 100 sticks of TNT or something. I have to come prepared.
Joe, that kiloton is not just 100 sticks. Have you not seen Oppenheimer? That is a required gamer movie to watch. Hell, you were alive to witness it firsthand.
I was a little busy learning my shapes at the time to pay attention to the OG Fallout inspiration. Also, I didn't see Oppenheimer because the Barbie movie is what separates the boys from the men, Donald.
All right, go off, Queen. Also, Joe, for future reference, a kiloton is 1,000 tons of explosive powder. So the Leviathan is the equivalent of 10,000 pounds of TNT.
Thanks, Nerd Bama. The Minecraft YouTube video of 10 kilotons would go crazy going to have to test that on the CIA supercomputer. Speaking of supercomputers, goddamn that light-up scene was gorgeous. Too bad the final product is this ugly thing.
It's a good thing George isn't here. The amount of tentacles this thing can summon would have sent him into a coma. No amount of aversion therapy could prepare you for this, boys. Also, Joe, you are getting tossed like a salad. Are you trying to do a challenge where you get hit by every Leviathan tentacle and still win the fight? What kind of practice did you do to prepare for this fight because you need to get a refund as soon as possible?
It wasn't really paid training. I just played a bunch of Human Torch and Rivals to get a handle of the movements in zero gravity. They are practically the same kind of slow, weightless movement with the shift button being to speed up.
Oh goddammit, Joe, here I was proud of you for trying to do actual episode prep in between episodes, but instead it was just Marvel Rivals after I specifically told you to not play DPS anymore after the Black Panther incident.
Joe, you are not our editor. You can't just switch off support when you are feeling bored. You are a liability to yourself and others when you don't stay in your lane. I know our editor can carry with Human Torch in Rivals, but he isn't playing. Now you are, and the kitchen is the only thing on fire here.
Yeah, that would be a really silly thing to see if our editor somehow had great control. And positioning in one game, but horrible positioning in another game with the same flight controls, that person would need to look into medication and therapy. Thankfully, that's not the case, and it's just good old Joe.
Well, now that you guys got your daily roast of me out of the way, I can safely say, even if this thing hits like a truck and is weirdly fast, I have enough health potions and armor upgrades that this isn't really an issue. Thankfully, bro doesn't have any backup since the marker already sent all its other guys at me earlier, so it's just me and you in a 1 versus 1 for 5 minutes, big girl.
This isn't even a display of skill or mechanics. You are just durable enough to not die to this thing because Barack has been helping you with your build. This is truly a sad moment in Dead Space history. At least you're on the second stage now, which is going to put your biggest weakness to the test oxygen management.
To be fair, we aren't doing any exploits. This is a feasible way to beat the boss. I do help with optimization for when a situation like Joe getting hit by 13 out of the 15 tentacle strikes. For viewers, if you want a better guide for how to beat this boss, I suggest getting up as close to it as possible so the tentacles don't have time to expand when they lash out further. Plus, you will be at the perfect angle for all its weak points.
This scene feels like it should have taken us out of game for the cutscene because they didn't even animate Isaac for this scene. He just stays in place and the game locks us out of controlling him.
Yeah, that was really jank, but at least Cross came in clutch to save us at the last minute, so she is already just as much a part of the team as Kendra is, and above Hammond.
You crushed the heads of Leviathan.
That Leviathan line is from Psalm 74:14, praising God's power to crush anything he faces. Interestingly, the fact Cross references this means that Christianity is still taught and alive in the 26th century, and it hasn't been completely overturned by unitology.
I'm sure there's some people among our viewers that would be happy to hear that. Still, a world where Christianity is the minority religion is kind of crazy to think about.
I can't be too surprised if Christianity is alive and well in the Mass Effect universe thanks to Ashley. It isn't too crazy to think it's still kicking in the Dead Space universe. Also, Joe, what the hell are you looking around for? There isn't anything left to kill here. It's time to leave.
I'm looking for all the ammo clips and health packs that were floating around the room. There was a ton of random items I didn't loot.
I think most of those blew into space with the Leviathan. If you wanted them, you would have had to loot them before the Leviathan was killed as ass backwards as that normally is for the game design. It was probably an unintentional result of how the fight ended in the original, where it just dies and doesn't get spaced. They kept the random loot as is, but forgot to account for that part.
Goddamn Temple was really over here, being the only competent person doing anything before Isaac showed up. I have to respect it. Everyone else either went crazy or sat here doing nothing like Cross here.
Nicole was pretty active, too, trying to oppose the unitologists and creating a shelter for all the injured survivors before the marker got a hold of her. We can see her putting in work in Dead Space extraction, too.
That's probably why Temple and Nicole became fast friends. They were two of the only people trying to actively stop the outbreak and help other people. Also, the last difference in this chapter from the original is how we learn about the distress beacon. Cross naturally learns about it through Jacob, but in the original where Cross isn't here, Kendra does her elite hacking skills and learns about the distress beacon naturally.
It feels like this chapter was a lot more different than the previous chapters. Crazy how much new content could be packed into a story just by actively changing one thing. Just looking at the runtime of both the length of chapter 6 nearly doubled from the original 2008 version.
Well, goodbye, Cross. I am sure you won't come up again as a relevant character or have any future plot points. Thanks for being a useful waifu assistant and killing a giant space pod.
Unfortunately, for the plot to work, we have to actively forget that Cross exists, but it's always weird that Isaac is okay saving someone later in the ship we get. But we actively forget about Cross or trying to get her off the ship. It's the one plot point that worked far better in the original since Kendra, Isaac, Kine, and Nicole were the only known survivors on the ship.
Well, we made it to engineering, so we found our people boys. I'm expecting to meet at least a dozen wacky engineers all carrying plasma cutters, line guns, and force guns. Also, goddammit, box puzzles. I hate the controls on these things.
Yeah, you would struggle with moving boxes and putting the fries in the bag, Joe. Honestly, the only thing on my bucket list that I would want out of Dead Space, besides Hammond being a useful character in the remake, is Isaac to be able to talk to Temple and either work with him like Cross or at least just talk nerd stuff like two engineer bros.
that would definitely make what happens to him later a little more impactful, also Hammond, is in the vents all this time. How sus?
I saw Hammond vent and medical boys, let's vote him out.
Why are we supposed to care about the unitologists killing each other? That sounds like a solution, not a problem.
I think Hammond was more so shocked at how they were dying rather than the fact they were dying watching someone get stabbed in the eye is pretty hardcore. Now that Hammond's tidbit of the day is done, we can move on to the next chapter.
Oh, God damn it, I did all that work just for the room to be a master rig door that's like 2 minutes I won't get back.
That's true, you don't have much time left in life either. You need to make every minute count.
If I knew that's what you were looking for, I would have told you that a minute ago. This is our normal end spot anyway, so why don't we call it for this episode?
Yeah, that's fine. We did accomplish a lot this episode. Well, viewers, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to leave your comment question on what your favorite boss in the Dead Space series is, as well as a like to thumb my ass, a subscription to keep up to date on the next video. If you like video previews and gaming discussions, feel free to join Fox Discord in the description. Next episode, we're going back to Dragon Age 2 with Barry starting the cycle all over again with some side content, so stay tuned, but for now, stay safe, Biden out.